to everyone who's here tonight. And I would also like to acknowledge our Department of Hawaiian Homeland Commissioner, Shailene Ornelas. Thank you for being here. So this meeting can be viewed via live stream on OHA's website at www.oha.org/live stream. And before we begin, I would like to also ask each trustee to introduce themselves as well as their staff. So first up, I would like to call on is Trustee Akaka.
Mahalo anui. Aloha Pouhana. I'm Kalea Kaka, and I'm honored to serve as your OHA Oahu trustee. Joining me this evening is my kokua, Nathan Takeuchi, over there, as well as my ohana. You might see my little one running around in a purple dress and a purple bowl. But I want to say mahalo to you all for joining us this evening so that we can hear the needs and concerns of our community, what's working, where we could use a little more collaboration or some inspiration from you all. And I also want to say mahalo to all the limahana who've made today possible. Mahalo to our Kauaʻi Island trustee, Danahuna, and his team, as well as administration for making all of this possible. Mahalo.
Next up, is Trustee Akina's not here, so let's go with Trustee Alapa.
Aloha mai kākou. I'm Luana Alapa, trustee for the islands of Molokai and Lanai. Unfortunately, I missed most of the day. I was stuck in the airport for about 6 hours and finally made it this evening, and I'm so glad I'm here. First of all, I'd like to introduce my secretary. Where is she? Oh, there she is. Hi. This is Summer Source, and thank you, Summer, for waiting for me at the airport. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to share with us this evening. So mahalo for being here.
Next up is Trustee Galuteria.
Aloha all, I'm Trustee Brickwood Galuteria at large. And I'd like to introduce part of the staff. Actually, she runs the office, Leanne Durant, right over there. So we're really pleased to be here, and we look forward to hearing what you've brought in terms of how we can be collaborative with everyone. We're very, very pleased and proud to be a part of the Lahui like you are. So thank you so much for coming. Aloha.
And Trustee Souza.
Aloha mai kākou. I'd like to introduce Trustee Akina. No, I'm Keone Souza, trustee at large. I'd like to introduce my aide, Rochelle Kim, over there to the right. Aloha.
Next up, we have Chair Emerita, Trustee Lindsay.
Aloha mai kākou. It's so nice to be back. I'd like to introduce my aide, Kanani Iaya. Thank you all for coming tonight, and we're so anxious to hear from you. Let us know what's going on. How can we help? And come tell us stories. Mahalo.
Trustee Akina.
Mahalo, aloha mai kākou. It's good to see all of you tonight, and I want to thank you so much for coming. I'm Keli'i Akina, trustee. There, I think I'm on now. Aloha mai kākou. I'm Keli'i Akina, trustee at large. Just delighted to be here on Kauaʻi. We want to hear your mana'o this evening, and we respect the fact that you've taken time to come. So please share with us. I'm looking forward to that. And I have accompanying me Remy Keli'i Ho'omalu. She is parking the car, and I'm here thanks to Hawaiian Airlines, but apologize for stepping in a little bit late. Aloha.
Remy, you can say hi. Don't worry. Remy's here.
Oh, there you are. Remy is here.
Trustee John Wahe'e.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Aloha mai kākou Kauaʻi. I am John Wahe'e IV, and I'm a trustee at large. I do want to thank everyone who made this meeting possible, especially our friend and colleague representing Kauaʻi, Danahuna. I do also want to thank everybody joining us in person and virtually. Thank you for coming out. Otherwise, we could not have a successful community meeting. And I want to introduce my aide, ʻāina Kina, who's sitting in the back there. Again, mahalo for everything.
Chair Kahele.
Aloha, ahi kako. My name is Kai Kahele, and I represent Hawaii Island on the Board of Trustees. I'd like to introduce my trustee aide, Jasmine Bronco, and sitting next to her is Lehua Itokazu, our Board of Trustees Secretary, as well as Summer Silva, our Board of Trustees Chief of Staff. Mahalo.
Thank you all. And I am Danahuna, trustee for Kauaʻi and Niihau. And today with us is our two aides, Yvonne Mahialona and Anuhea Diamond. So thank you all, staff, for being here. Oh, no, I did just do it. Okay, I did already. Okay, so joining us tonight is our Papahānaumokuakea, Stacy Ferrer. Stacy, would you please introduce yourself and as well as your administrative staff supporting us here this evening?
Ai, ano ai, me ke aloha. Mahalo ke akua for bringing us all here to spend this evening together, getting us here safely, and I trust that he is going to get us home. Mahalo to Trustee Ahuna and his team for their hoʻokipa. It's been a wonderful and beautiful day here on your island. And at this time, I'd like to introduce those who have traveled with me from administration to be here with us tonight. If you could please stand up and just raise your hand so that folks can see who you are. First, I'd like to introduce Director of Oiwi Wellbeing and ʻāina Momona, Kuike Kamakea Ohelo. Director of Community Engagement, Lisa Vaughn Sekona. Operations Manager, Royce Campbell. We have IT Systems Engineer and Administrator, Arlene Aguinaldo. Multimedia Designer, Nelson Gaspar. He's hiding behind over here. He's working hard. And then we have Mahalo. And then we have our Ancestry Verification Specialist, Lucy Meyer. We have our awesome Kauaʻi Beneficiary Services Agent, Kaliko Santos. Yay. Mahalo. And our Communication Strategist, Kelly Swallow. Mahalo.
Mahalo nui. Kapahana. First up on the agenda is the status of OHA activities. I will call on Stacy again to go over some this item. But first, Lehua, do we have anyone signed up to speak on this? So thank you, Kapahana.
Mahalo, Trustee. First off, I just wanted to thank Trustee Ahuna for asking me to talk on very specific issues and concerns of the Kauaʻi community. And this is going to be a longer update than I usually give. But I think that just speaks to the good work that Trustee Ahuna, his team, and our administration has been doing on behalf of the Kauaʻi community. So I'd like to begin by the community updates by just sending out a mahalo for the good work of Kuike Kamakea Ohelo, Director of Oiwi Wellbeing and ʻāina Momona, and his staffer, Parker Spencer, a strategy consultant with our strategy and implementation PAIA, and Kamakana Ferreira, our archaeologist of our advocacy and compliance PAIA, for all of their efforts in taking critical action to address the concerns and issues of our Kauaʻi beneficiaries. So the first update that I'm going to provide is regarding iwi kupuna at Naue. The Office of Hawaiian Affairs has been actively working to protect iwi kupuna at Naue since October of last year. When iwi kupuna were first discovered, OHA immediately questioned the State Historic Preservation Division about the protocols that were being followed or not. As tensions on the ground rose, OHA met with the Department of Health on October 23rd, 2024, and we raised serious concerns about the way wastewater permits were being handled, and we requested a stop work order. That stop work order was issued within hours of that meeting. The very next day, OHA met with the Department of Land and Natural Resources, asking for direct consultation on the burial site component protection plan and for stronger proactive steps to identify iwi kupuna before any further work was done. On November 4th, OHA brought DOH, DLNR, SHPD, and the County of Kauaʻi to Waipa'a for a community meeting. At that meeting, DOH admitted weaknesses in its permitting processes and promised to improve it. DLNR Chair Chang agreed that better consultation and proactive processes were needed. And County Planning Director Kaina Hull confirmed that septic upgrades were not considered development and therefore were exempt from county review, and that those exemptions would be reevaluated. As a result of that meeting, the County of Kauaʻi revised its permitting processes and now requires cesspool conversion projects to comply with DOH's HRS 6E review, requiring that owners and developers attest to whether or not their projects would affect Native Hawaiian resources or the exercising of Native Hawaiian cultural practices in that vicinity. This was a huge win for iwi kupuna protection and preservation here on Kauaʻi, especially since all existing cesspools must be upgraded, converted to an approved alternative wastewater system or connected to a municipal sewer by January 1st, 2015. Digging will continue. OHA continued to press for answers from SHPTI. In December, we gained access to project files and archaeological records, and on January 15th, we formally requested a project redesign, warning that the septic system was too close to iwi kupuna and could violate state burial protection laws. In February, OHA submitted detailed comments to the burial site component project plan, calling out gaps in long-term protection measures, consultation records, and even the proper recording of the plan. OHA continued meeting with SHPTI and DOH throughout 2024, and on December 17th, OHA was granted access to the project's SHPTI's Hawaii Cultural Resource Information System files, including site maps, SHPTI correspondence, and archaeological monitoring logs for this project. After reviewing the files, OHA Compliance issued a letter to SHPTI on January 15, 2025, stating that the septic system was too close to the iwi kupuna and called for a project redesign to avoid a possible HRS 6E11 violation due to the potential harm from individual wastewater systems operations or malfunction. OHA also submitted formal comments on the draft plan on January 25th, in January of 2025, and on February 14th, 2025, we raised concerns once again. To keep the community informed, OHA held a follow-up meeting in Waipa on February 24th, 2025, providing a timeline of events, a detailed burial site component protection plan comments, and written responses from DOH and the county. Most recently, on July 2nd, SHPTI issued a formal letter stating that the project is still out of compliance with state law. A revised burial plan is due today, July 15th, and SHPTI has warned that if septic tank number 2 is activated, it will seek an immediate injunction and take the matter before the BLNR. OHA continues to closely monitor this case, work with SHPTI, DOH, DLNR, and the Kauaʻi community to ensure that iwi kupuna at Naue are protected with the dignity and respect that they deserve. My next update is on Kaniʻolaʻuma and a recent budget appropriation for a ki'i purchase. And in partnership with the County of Kauaʻi, since August 2024, OHA has been actively engaged in the due diligence process to assume stewardship in collaboration with Hui Malama o Kaniʻolaʻuma for the Kaniʻolaʻuma Heiau Complex and the adjacent parcel known as Mano Kalanipo Park. OHA has secured a civil engineering, planning, and environmental firm to support due diligence phase 2, which focuses on risk assessments and liabilities of a parcel of land. OHA aims to complete this phase 2 due diligence by December of this year, and at that time, final reports and action items will be presented and agendized for trustee consideration. If approved by our trustees, OHA administration will advance to phase 3, which OHA and the County of Kauaʻi will engage formally on discussing and agreeing on specific conditions or backup plans, contingencies, as part of any potential transfer of the Heiau complex to OHA. Additionally, $50,000 has been allocated in OHA's core operating budget in fiscal year 26 to acquire ki'i and mea kapu for Kaniʻolaʻuma. OHA remains committed to honoring the vision of the Kauaʻi community and the many years of dedicated work of Uncle Rupert Rowe, Hui Malama o Kaniʻolaʻuma, and the cultural practitioners who steward Kaniʻolaʻuma. We mahalo the County of Kauaʻi for their collaboration in assisting OHA with the ongoing due diligence as we work together towards a potential transfer of the parcel, ensuring that Kaniʻolaʻuma is protected and preserved for generations to come. I have an update on Kōʻula Island. The Office of Hawaiian Affairs continues to participate in consultations under the National Historic Preservation Act, Section 106, regarding Kōʻula, which is being evaluated as a traditional cultural property. On May 15, 2025, OHA met with staff from the Pacific Missile Range, where it was confirmed that consultations are ongoing with at least 4 Native Hawaiian organizations and the State Historic Preservation Division. OHA has recommended several mitigation measures to protect Kō'ula, including improving fishing access to waters around the island, exploring access for cultural practitioners, updating the ethnographic studies, cleaning and remediating the land, reducing or ending military training on the island, and capturing drone images of Kō'ula and its heiau. On June 4th, 2025, the Navy issued a formal letter to SHPTI agreeing that its proposed land-based training and testing would have an adverse effect on Kō'ula as a traditional cultural property. The Navy acknowledged that additional visual and atmospheric impacts would diminish the integrity of setting and feeling, and that limited access for cultural practitioners and would further harm Kō'ula's cultural significance. This finding is consistent with OHA's own concerns raised during our May consultation. If SHPTI concurs with the Navy's findings, the next step will be to formalize mitigation measures through a memorandum of agreement. Many of the recommended mitigations have already been discussed, and OHA will continue to monitor the process closely. OHA may also request to be a signatory on that MOA to ensure Native Hawaiian interests are fully represented. My last update is Anahola water diversion. Community concerns about the unusually dry conditions in Anahola and the resulting sand plugs near the coast that have caused inland flooding prompted the Office of Hawaiian Affairs to investigate possible water diversions affecting the area. This issue directly impacts the Department of Hawaiian Homeland homesteaders who rely on consistent water access to be able to homestead successfully from Mauka to Makai. OHA staff, working with the Department of Land and Natural Resources Division of Forestry and Wildlife and the Kauaʻi community ʻāina experts, conducted 2 site visits to trace Anahola Stream to potential diversion points. However, due to the remote terrain and dense forests, it was inconclusive on exactly where the diversions are occurring. On February 5th, 2025, OHA sent a letter to DLNR Chair Don Chang requesting detailed information on all water diversion permits, environmental impacts, and cultural consultations and future water management plans for Anahola. Seaworm Chair Ciara Kahahane responded on February 25th, 2025, confirming that 6 stream diversions in Anahola were registered in 1989 and no new diversion permits have been issued since. There are no known environmental assessments or consultation records regarding water diversion activities in the area. OHA remains committed to uncovering the lack of water in Anahola that is preventing beneficiaries from homesteading this ʻāina. To strengthen our water diversion investigation and reporting work, the OHA Board of Trustees approved $60,000 in our fiscal year 26 and 27 budget to hire a hydrologist. This expert will support water-related compliance efforts and provide technical consultation to help address long-standing community concerns regarding the Anahola water diversion and the identification of potable water availability to DHHL's Anahola pastoral lots and agriculture lots. We are teaming up with DHHL's planning department to continue the diversion investigation for the work that's currently underway. Mahalo nui.
Yeah, I'd just like to add on that. I just want to say mahalo to Stacy Ferrer and her staff. They've been working hard on Kauaʻi, and as you all know, all their hard work is being reflected here today. But I just want to say thank you because we had a lot of boots on the ground this year. Going around our community and seeing the things that we needed to fix, and I just want to thank them for being here. So with that, we have a few community presenters, and we're just going to go right into it. We're going to start with Lawaiʻa, Naihe, and Jessell Tanaka with Hoʻākeolapono. Lehua, do we have anyone else to testify on this? Okay, thank you. So I just would like to call them up for the first community presentations. And thank you guys for being here. They do good work in our community, and I just wanted to make sure these people are being recognized. So thank you.
Hello, trustees, chair. My name is Lawaiʻa Naihe. I'm the executive director of Hoʻākeolapono Trades Academy and Institute, and this is Jessell Tanaka, our grant writer. We are recipients of 2 grants from OHA, 2023 internship grant or workforce development grant, sorry, and 2024 educational grant. In front of you, you have the flyer. Sorry for the brevity, but and we'll also get the electronic copy to you guys. Just kind of highlighting what we got going on. We have 3 programs. We have a high school program, a workforce development program, and a all females Navahine program. All of our programs essentially run the same way. We equip, we pay, we train, and we give financial training. We give investment training, mortgage and house management training, and financial literacy training to all of our participants throughout our programs. Essentially, so far we've, with the OHA grant, the internship grant, we have gotten 13 Native Hawaiian students, participants, jobs, full-time jobs in the construction industry. We've paid over $95,000 in intern pay to our students. And our high school program, we currently are running, year 1 is 16 Native Hawaiian students at Kekula o Ni'ihau in Kekaha. And we're just blessed and thankful for allowing us the opportunity to serve.
Any questions? Nobody? Well, thank you so much, you guys, for being there. Jessell, you got anything to say? Yeah. Oh, Trustee ʻāina has a quick question.
Mahalo. It just sounds like wonderful work in terms of equipping people to be able to live in the challenging conditions of life that we have. You mentioned 19. I'm not sure that's the total figure. What is the total number of people you're working with in each of your 3 programs?
About 600.
600.
About 600, yeah.
That's great.
This is our 4th year of operation. I want to say our numbers are somewhere around 641 total.
Wonderful.
And I'd also like to add that the Native Hawaiian charter school that they're participating with is one of our Hawaiian focused charter schools as well.
Yes.
So thank you very much for supporting. Trustee Galataria.
Thank you so much for what you guys do. Not everybody's made for the white collar. Trades are an incredibly important part of our community. Now, how do students find out about you folks?
Right now, it's pretty much word of mouth, but we have a really good reputation. Kauaʻi, as you guys know, is a small island. So, reputation, people talk story. We just started a program on the Big Island as well. So we have 4 interns on the Big Island that just started literally yesterday, which is why I was traveling so much that I couldn't get a PowerPoint to you guys. But yeah, that's where we're at.
You follow up, yeah? You may want to consider through Trustee Ahuna's office accessing our communications division so that we can get the word out. I mean, we got a pretty hefty megaphone.
Yeah.
So we'd like to help you in that way as well.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay. Trustee Luana Alapa.
Yeah, hi, aloha. Do you plan on going to any of the other islands besides the Big Island?
Yeah, I would love to go to Maui, Molokai as well, because they need it. Oahu, not so much, that's a dog-eat-dog world over there. Hawaii guys don't like doing that kind of stuff. But we do want to get to the other islands, in particular the islands with the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. We are a Hawaiian-focused organization. We do a lot of our work on Department of Hawaiian Homelands with our beneficiaries. We do things like renovations for our kupunas at no cost to them. And, we really appreciate that opportunity, again, to serve our community.
I think that would be wonderful. I know that we have going to implement a new program in which we will be focusing our energies for OHA towards helping our people in the home repair department. And I think this would be a great collaboration with you folks. And to get the experience for our new and upcoming, home builders and whatnot, especially for our young high school students, they'll have something to fall back on or learn, and hopefully this will be the field they want to get involved in. But it is badly needed, as you may know, for many of our homes, for Hawaiian people who live in old, dilapidated homes, and their health is threatened by, you could see the conditions, the mold that's there, bugs that fly in. They use temporary, I would say, like cut out boards for their windows and so forth. And to see all that, especially in Molokai, we really need to be stepping up in that arena. And the more people we can help, the better. Of course, bringing on those the students and those will learn. This is wonderful, and I need to get your information because this will be great as we begin to the process of allowing our grants to go out to those who are in dire need for home repairs. But mahalo for the work you're doing.
Chair.
Yeah, my question is for
Naihe.
Jessell, actually. So I wasn't here when these grants were approved. Can you just bring me up to speed on, it looks like there were two grants, the OHA Building 3 Innovation Grant and then the High School Trades Innovation Program. How much was each grant?
That's a good question. I believe it was 400,000 over 2 years
For each one?
for each one. So 200,000 each year
Okay,
for each program
for each program.
over 2 years.
Okay. And how has, you know, in terms of applying for additional grants, what other supplemental resources does the Trades Academy apply for, other programs you work with? And how has like the grant process been in terms of, you know, the various different funding opportunities out there besides OHA?
So we've recently gotten a DHHL grant, also to supplement the high school program, in addition to a facility that the organization is trying to build in Anahola. We've also have private donations that come into the organization, and then I currently just scan a lot of whatever grants are coming up, and I organize and apply for them, whatever comes up that.
And does the OHA funding,
I believe the intern grant, we're in the second year. So that ends in 2026. And then the education grant, we're still in year 1. And so that
Okay.
ends 2027.
that's good.
That's the high school.
Okay,
grant.
great.
Yeah,
Awesome. Right on. Thank you.
sure.
Oh, Trustee Akaka. Sorry.
For sharing what you folks are doing with the haumana. I would be interested at maybe at some point or another, if maybe even virtually, the haumana can share with us at the board, whether it's in the Budget and Finance Committee or in a board meeting, perhaps in community concerns and celebrations, how much they're learning through the OHA programming. And with the OHA High School Trades Innovation Program, I feel we would be very interested in hearing from the haumana themselves on how much they've gained from it and why it's so important for us to look at funding this going forward. Thank you.
Yes.
Anybody else? Sorry, yeah. Anybody else? Well, thank you, man. Thank you so much. I just wanted to add to, they're both administrators of their former charter school administrators. So thank you so much for being here. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you so much.
Wait, one more question. Sorry.
One more question, specifically regarding Ke Kulan Iha o Ke Kaha. Can I ask what that partnership entails or what trade?
We
And how that's
teach
administered?
carpentry. We teach carpentry there. On the bottom there, we got students making sawhorses for a couple of our projects. So we go in there and we just teach class, you know, but our class is a little bit different. You go in outside, you go hana for a little bit, you know, and so that's how we like it.
Mahalo.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Right on, you guys. Okay, our next community presenter is Jeremie Makepa. Lehua, is there anyone signed up to speak on this agenda item? Okay, Jeremie, it's good to see you again back here.
Just a couple hours.
Yeah, Jeremie is with ʻāina Alliance, so thank you for being here, Jeremie.
Yeah, hello, trustees. Great to see you again. For everybody who didn't have the privilege of coming out to Anahola and seeing our project firsthand, a couple hours ago, I brought some of the trustees and staff out to see our project, see the cleanup, all of the cars that are being removed and trash being hauled out, and how beautiful it is coming, all the fire breaks that we're developing. So I can talk a lot about that, but today was pretty exciting to see Lawaiʻa over here because when we first got started, that green security shed that you guys are standing next to, his students built that when they were still at Kauaʻi before his program even started. So great connection coming around full circle to have the two of us here receiving OHA funding from you guys. So mahalo for supporting the both of us. And also mahalo to OHA for following up on the Anahola water diversion stuff. Last year when I came to present, he has asked me some questions about what's holding us back in Anahola, and I brought that up, that possible water diversions, the closing of the reservoirs and that kind of stuff. So mahalo for following up and finding out more about that. So thank you on that. Since we did talk a lot about what we've been doing, we have received 2 grants so far. We got a OHA grant to help with our grant writing and capacity building in 2023. And also in 2023, we got a ʻāina grant, which we use to help clean up Anahola. It also supplements some of our DHHL grants that we use for hazard mitigation. So you got to see that process happening, how we clean up the area, create fire breaks and stuff like that. But one of the staff members brought up something that today when we were out there about how do we quantify our program as far as impact in the future. So today I wanted to pay tribute to Uncle Frank, who passed away earlier this year. He was my mentor on this project, and I wouldn't have been able to get started in this thing without his support. So I wanted to put his picture up on the board behind you. And when I think about him, there was an old saying, a society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they will never sit in. And my background is fire department. I understand about all of the fire breaks, fire mitigation stuff, but he had the trucking company, the connections in the community, and the long-standing reputation of helping people. And I had the opportunity to learn from him for the last 5 years before his passing. And he passed away from cancer in January. And I was able to, he was having treatment in Texas. So we were able to Zoom, and then he was able to share with me, his visions for the area. And a lot of it had to do with Workforce Trades Academy stuff, getting the kids involved in driving equipment, because that's what we did. That's how we were able to transform the area so quickly, by using heavy equipment to haul out cars, using bulldozers to clear fire breaks, and all of that kind of stuff. So it was his vision to get kids out there and using equipment like that. So in September, we did one event where we'd invite all of the high school students who are in construction trades to the property, and we got different heavy equipment operating companies to come out, and they actually got to drive the machines, pick up car parts, load them up in the bins, and do all of that kind of stuff. So I hope Uncle Frank is proud of what we've been doing. And, when we think about legacy and leadership, how do we support programs like ours and Lawaiʻa's so that we can build that leadership into the future, to build that legacy so that leaders like us can grow leaders in the future, yeah? You can look at all of the hundreds of kids that his program goes through, hundreds of kids that came to our property and seen the work that we do, taking care of the ʻāina and transforming generations of dumping and stuff like that, and then see it come back to life. I mean, with the whole Kauaʻi coming over, 400 kids, how many of those kids are now gonna look at careers in marine biology, possibly looking at the ocean? My own son is going to UH for environmental land management, looking at that kind of stuff. So we don't know the long-term legacy that these kind of programs are doing. So I just like mahalo you guys for supporting programs like ours and Lawaiʻa's and the legacies that mentors like Uncle Frank leave with me and pass on. So mahalo.
Yeah, trustees, do we have any questions? But before I say that, thank you for hosting us today. Thank you so much. Trustees. Yeah, so today we got to have a tour with Jeremie today. So a lot of our questions have been answered, but we just want to thank you for hosting us and giving us your time to share. And I just wanted to thank you for making that connection too, because we're at the shack today. But thank you so much. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you, Jeremie. Oh, wait, Trustee Akaka.
I want to say mahalo for hosting us today and for touring us around some of the area you have over there. I'm looking forward to seeing what more is to come of the property, and I mahalo you for preparing this ʻāina for our beneficiaries to, I hope in the near future, live on.
Yeah.
And to have Anahola a thriving community, continue to be a thriving community that we've known through the generations. So thank you so much for that. And I also wanted to share what I learned as I entered this vicinity this evening. So I learned that you are multifaceted, not just as a firefighter and in this work that you do in preparing this ʻāina, but apparently we have a designer in the house as well. And Auntie, there is wearing his designs over there.
Born Hawaii is my clothing company. My wife runs it and I do all the design. So we'll be on Oahu for Made in Hawaii next month.
Oh,
He's always at Mary Monarch, you guys.
Yeah, Mary Monarch.
Yeah, he's always there too, you guys.
thank you so much for
Yeah, this is one of our designs. Yeah. Yeah.
Of course he is.
Jeremie,
Trustee Hulu.
mahalo for today. That was a really good ATV ride. And I can tell it was raining because when you were going really fast, there wasn't any dust. So I appreciated that. But what I got from you today in your presentation to us is the passion in your voice. And I heard the disappointment, how you folks have tried to get water and other things. And I just wanted to tell you it from the old, experienced people that you got to make yourself heard. You have to go before the deciding boards and plead your passion, because otherwise it doesn't get done. We hear people come to us all the time, and that's the people that going to get what they want. So you need to, because you got so much to offer, and you have lots of people supporting you. And that's the only way you're going to be able to do your projects. So thank you for your hard work. And I can tell you're a hard worker. And where you folks get your lole? Where is it being sold?
It's right down the road over here is our store, Born Hawaii. Maybe, I don't know, 500 yards away from this building.
Okay, we're going to check it out tomorrow.
Vice Chair Souza.
Mahalo, Chair. Hello, Jeremie.
Hello.
Kalamai, I missed the ATV ride today with the dig out, but I joked around with Dan earlier and Trustee Kahele. Every time I come to Kauaʻi, I start off in a rental car, end up on a mule or ATV or something like that. That's how it happens, right? But appreciate everything you're doing, man. Trustee Huna brought me down there a couple years ago, and then big difference already in the cleanup and everything you guys are doing. I like that you guys are also partnering up with Lawaiʻa and Jessell. It's nice to see when our resources go out, right? I mean, it's only so much. It's not the full amount that you guys need or ask for sometimes. But when you guys partner up with other organizations and come together, it speaks volumes. And then look forward to continue to support. I know we'll get some time, fiscal year 27, I think it's out, but look forward to having you guys come back and seeing the progress as well in the future. So mahalo, and thank you guys as well. Mahalo.
Thank you so much, my brother.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Aloha.
Okay, our last presenter. I know she never get money, but she is very important. It's Pelika Andrade with Papahānaumokuakea Cultural Working Group. She has a lot of important things to share. So do we have anybody signed up on this agenda item? Okay, so I'd like to call up Pelika Andrade with Papahānaumokuakea Cultural Working Group. Aloha.
Aloha. I got this made slides. I would love it if you guys could pay attention to the slide and dim the lights. Aloha, everybody. And mahalo nui. Thank you for the time and opportunity to share. My name is Pelika Andrade, and I have my laptop because I got to make sure I don't forget anything. I run a nonprofit, Namaka o Nauna, and our vision and our goals and everything is around ʻāina momona, thriving and productive communities of people, place, and natural resources. But for this presentation and for this sharing, they've asked me to come and share about Papahānaumokuakea. And I believe that might be slide 2, but that's okay. We can leave it there. Can we go back, please? Thank you. So right now, we have a cultural working group for Papahānaumokuakea, and I serve as a co-chair for it. I've been a part of it since 2010, and to really play a role in how, when, and really trying to engage our Hawaii in the care of Papahānaumokuakea. So as the name Papahānaumokuakea returns us to the genealogy of our islands, I wanted to take this opportunity to take you through some of the genealogies and relationships that tie into Papahānaumokuakea, honoring our Hawaii, this place, the Native Hawaiian Culturing Working Group, and others that have made commitments to grow, nurture, and strengthen our relationships to these islands. So that's Papahānaumokuakea. So if you kind of make a shaka with your hand, your thumb is Hawaii Island, your pinky is Kauaʻi, and our ʻāina does not stop there. If you make 2.5 more shakas, you get through the rest of our ʻāina. And from Nihoa up is the boundaries of and the start of Papahānaumokuakea. I think we can go to the next slide, please. So these 4 lines are part of a mele composed by Kainani Kahaunaele and Halealoha Aya, who are also cultural working group members. And they just talk about the yearning for knowledge and deep knowledge, and in those realms of Kanaloa. And yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there. So it acknowledges the dawning of the sun and the access of information and that quest, the quest of deep knowledge and the privileges of that responsibility of holding knowledge. Next slide, please. So this is another map of of our Hawaii, our archipelago, our ʻāina. And as you notice, there's a yellow, the bottom, and that's in the geography of things, what we consider ao, and at the tropic of, I believe it's Cancer, I don't know the whole English name, Cancer, Capricorn, one of the tropics. From that line, we have Mokumanamana, and that line goes over Mokumanamana, the second island, into Papahānaumokuakea. And from there on, we consider that pole. And like all vau in our Hawaii, we have places that man and Tanaka spend a lot of time in and tread a little bit more heavily, and then in places that we visit but we don't tread so heavily in, and that is that po and above Mokumanamana. Next slide, please. It is a place of voyages, of heroes, of makaikai, of quests, and again, back into that idea of ao and po. We have our genealogies of Pele being there. It's found in Keaomelemele. We have Aukele Nui, Mo'oinanea, and it goes on and on and on, all the way to Queen Emma and Liliuokalani. We also have, I cannot see, all of these references to Kanehunamoku and the lands beyond the horizon, where our kua sit and where we return to also. Next slide, please. Historically and in more recent pre-contact history, it was a place, especially Mokumanamana, where AHA ceremonies and socio-political development of chiefdoms were held. So the temple constructions up there and the reconstructions, the coordination of rituals and the intensification of ritual performances. There are so many sites in Mokumanamana that lead to that function within our socio-political history. Next slide, please. We also have this beautiful history here in Kauaʻi, and it's something our Kauaʻi people should be really, really proud of. This huimoku, our Kauaʻi niʻihau and nihoa, where there's a few stories that tie us socially and politically together with nihoa. It was mostly, in more recent times, we connect a lot of our niʻihau families with nihoa, but that went into kalalau and to napali as well. And there's uala cultivation. There is special marine harvest that did happen up there. And then these newer relationships that are sprouting out. Oh, the new relationships is a really great story about how some families would drop new lovers off on nihoa to see if they survived. It's a really good test if you should be together, and pick them up a few months later. We should return to that practice, I think. Next slide, please. So on to Papahānaumokuakea. So right now, if you don't, for those who may not know, it's a Papahānaumokuakea Marine National Monument. It is a shared trust, co-management between the state, between NOAA, between Fish and Wildlife, and now we have OHA there as well. So we have 4 co-trustees, which is unheard of anywhere in the world for such a big space. And you guys can read. And just wanted to put at the very, very bottom, natural resources, for the sake of being very clear in what we mean. We talk about natural resources but for Hawaii, we really want to stress that they are cultural resources. There's not a cultural resource and then a natural resource. They're all embodied in each other as they are kupuna. Next slide, please. So the Cultural Working Group is a collective working to earn the privileges and responsibilities of maintaining a familial relationship that we share with our communities, with our islands, including Papahānaumokuakea. So these are more recent years, the past 20 or 30 of our history, that focus on the role we've been able to contribute to with the existing partnerships and the monument itself. So a little history about the beginnings of the Cultural Working Group. So the executive order that created the original reserve also created the Reserve Advisory Council, known now as the RAC, and set aside 20% of those seats for Native Hawaiians, which is unheard of also in advisory councils of this type. Within the RAC, working groups are created and were created, which included at the time the Native Hawaiian seats, created a Native Hawaiian working group. And this group has grown into what we know it today. So the working group, originally supported by NOAA and ONMS, operated under the rules and operations procedures under the RAC. But as the reserve evolved and no one wanted to lose the ability to convene the cultural working group, because there's that FACA stuff that happens in federal stuff, we, as a cultural advisory group within the collaborative, the agents of managing Papahānaumokuakea, OHA was asked to convene and support the cultural working group in continuing to advise and collaborate in all activities within Papahānaumokuakea, not just the Hawaiian stuff, all the management. It is also very important to remember that the cultural working group advocated heavily within OHA, the trustees as well at the time, to encourage them and kind of remind them of the responsibility of that advocacy within Papahānaumokuakea and to take a seat at the table. So, and that was one of the reasons that OHA is the manager and is a co-manager in that, because the cultural working group advocated heavily and understood the importance of having OHA and that organization represent our Hawaii within government and be active and at the table in that conversation. Next slide, please. So I'm relatively new to the culture working group. Again, I started in 2010 and talked to a few mentors, and they wanted to really imprint on me like the role cultural working group has had, and reminding of the significance of the role we've had in Papahānaumokuakea over the years. This is due to the congressional delegation knowing how much support comes broadly from the cultural working group. And next slide, please. So a lot of the work that we do, again, a working group, is trying to weave the past, present into the future. So it's the evolution of culture, of what's happening today, of what's happening in our communities. How does that connectivity work, right? And learning from our past to support this idea of ʻāina momona, right? What is the foundations that we have and how do we build on it? Next page, please. Slide, please. So we have the culture working group. These are old pictures, and these are the convenings of those groups over time, how they've evolved, where we've met, and who they represent. Next slide, please. So these are the keepers of tradition, educators, researchers, shorelines and watersheds, sailors and voyagers, policymakers, community gatherers, and advocates, and the list goes on and on and on. Next slide, please. So we also have the voyaging community. We also have all of these representations of people that were touched not only by Papahānaumokuakea and have been there, but people who believe strongly in our Hawaii and in our communities, and really recognizing the breadth of our ʻāina. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So the Cultural Working Group is internationally known for cultural integrity and forged relationships that have influenced and maintained the importance of meaningful and respectful engagement and behavior. Without the vision and trust of our initiators, like Lily Kalakame'le, Hiva, Carlos Andrade, Hale Aloha Ayau, Auntie Laura Thompson, Uncle Buzzy Agard, Auntie Pua Kanahele, Kekueva Kiki Loy, and many other Native Hawaiians outside of and within agency, World Heritage would not have been a success. So we're also a World Heritage site, by the way. The resources, respect, operation and management of Papahānaumokuakea would not be what it is today without the Culture Working Group. And I say that because if you know Fish and Wildlife, you know federal agencies, there aren't many places where all those agencies really play well in the sandbox together. And they play well in the sandbox together because the Cultural Working Group through time has held that level of expectation of how that behavior should go down. Next slide, please. Is it not going? So from the Culture Working Group, we had the Edith Kanakaʻole Foundation is really heavy in it, and their research on alignments and mana and all of the pohaku that are up there. Auntie Pua has led that comes with Papaku Makavalu, and she's been a huge mentor within the Culture Working Group as well as all these initiatives across Hawaii. Next slide. We also have Huliaupa'a, another organization that is a big part of the Culture Working Group through their membership and their leadership. And they have created quite a great support system across the state and various communities and initiatives. Next slide, please. We have programs like Ku'ula that come out of support from the Culture Working Group and visionaries within the leadership of NOAA that recognize succession and wanting to bring more, add more human resources basically to the pool of who is doing work up there. So Ku'ula is a course that came out of UH Hilo that I actually, it's the reason I started and was able to begin my journey with Papahānaumokuakea. Next slide, please. We have my organization that comes out of the relationships and all of the friendships and the work buddies and the experiences that were shaped up there as well. So there's like really far-reaching tentacles here. Next slide, please. So our Culture Working Group also includes our sailors. So Nakalaiwa Amukuo Hawaii with Makali'i have made voyages up there. Polynesian Voyaging Society with Hokulea and Hikianalia have made voyages up there, as well as the Kanehuna Moku Voyaging Academy, who with Bani Kahapea, and I know you guys are familiar with her as well, taking and doing a lot of maritime work outside of the voyaging work. Next slide, please. So within the Culture Working Group itself, we have been instrumental in groundbreaking initiatives like our nomenclature or naming hui, who continue to push agendas in reclaiming our spaces, building, strengthening, and continuing relationships with elements and species, sharing perspectives from other traditions and traditions across the spectrum of Hawaii. We understand that names and places and relationships to those element species evolve over time. So as new species come up and new, we had like 86 new deep sea corals come through, we were able to help help put them in a Hawaii place through our naming process, et cetera. And more names come through, and our nomenclature are really active in making sure that there's representation in that process. Next slide, please. We also have a kia manu, or we hold a migratory bird permit in case and on behalf of feather workers, and supporting that. We have, there's a manukai, and I'll get into that a little bit later. So our kia manu are supported within the culture working group. Next slide, please. And then also the creation and publication of this document, which is Maikapomai, which is a Native Hawaiian plan for the monument, but it's also looked at internationally as a guiding document for other managed areas that are working with Indigenous communities and want to work in local places to really look into how that can be done, and done in a more pono way. That lands on our values and lands on our processes and lands on our relationships. I think it's on your website too. Yeah. Next slide, please. And then we have other examples of initiatives that come out of the Culture Working Group, like the Intertidal Partnership that now has members of collaborated. I'm one of them that created an opihi management plan that now are being used in our community fisheries advocacy across the state, Kaho'olawe, Ka'upulehu, and in different parts. So there's really innovative things that are happening in research and land management and fisheries management and watershed management that have come out from the nurturing of the relationships and this place, and a lot of the lessons that come from it. Next slide, please. And then also our culture working group is really adamant about making sure that we're participating in what I call the janitorial work. We want to talk about our pule and our rituals and our ceremony, and at the basis of that is tending to our akua, our birds and our habitats and our native forests. We have endemic species up there that are found nowhere else in the world. We have the ululu, the millerbird, and nihoa, and the palihoa. We have the Laysan duck that is nowhere else in the world, that found farther up on the chain. We have our lolu up there. We have popolo. We have so many different, a range of broad habitat of our akua and of our native species, and those that are found in the beginnings of our kumulipo that are really, really important to tend to. And so when we can and as we can, we're trying to advocate for more of our Hawaii to join those crews to be a part of that work as well. Next slide, please. And that's, yeah, we have the monk seal teams come up every summer. So through the co-managership, NOAA and Fish and Wildlife and the state have, Kure Atoll is up under the state. So there's crews that go up for 6 months. There's a crew up there actually for 13 months. Which is, like, if you really think about it, really devastating to be up there for 13 months with 4 people, and you can't kill them because they're the only ones you can talk to. So yeah, so there's like Kure Atoll. I'm serious. If you've been out in the field for more than a few months with 1 or 2 people, that's the choices you have. But there's summer crews. There's a marine debris team that goes up and they train in everything and the removing. So if you don't know, our islands up there are like one big net that catch everything that comes through the Pacific Gyre. So everything that swings around loops into Papahānaumokuakea. So there's tons and tons of just nets and floaties and like all of this entanglements that up there. So there's a nonprofit that sprouted up, the Marine Debris Program. And they're every summer, because summer is our flat season and our calm season, they're going up there and removing tons of marine debris. There's a monk seal team that goes up, and you guys are aware of monk seals. Their bird counts going up, turtle tagging, because our green sea turtle are not in Hawaii waters, because sometimes there's a little bit too much of them, but they're endangered across the world. And then we have the largest albatross colonies up there and petrel colonies, and we have also a huge history of the Navy up there. So we have all their debris that we're dealing with of entrapment of these creatures and entrapment and the harm to us as well. But so there's so much work up there that is being done. And we're trying to, as a culture working group, make sure that there's some presence and some advocacy and some support because a working group is not just the yes and no people, right? We actively are trying to work within this management structure. Next slide, please. And so this is just a closing of that same mele. And I know you guys have it, so hopefully we can share it with you again. And just really, really talks about like hano hano, our kupuna, and Papahānaumokuakea. Next slide, please. And then back to advocacy. So there's some things happening right now. We have threats and protections being challenged by the current administration. So we can't do the janitorial work. We got to go do the politics stuff. And there's commercial fishing threats up there. And I just want to like mahalo Stacey and your team. It's been a rough road for OHA. We acknowledge that. We know that. And the cultural working group who brought OHA into it years ago was actually kicked to the curb a little while ago. And we had to do this all on our own with no funding. We're all volunteers and all of this stuff. And we got to the point where we were like, do we just do our own thing? And OHA can figure it out when they figure it out. And I just so happened to be at a dinner with Stacey. I offered to bring salad. So that, and I'm glad I did. And we had a really, really beautiful conversation and an honest conversation. And those that know me, I'm just like, this is what it is, and this is how it is, and no hurt feelings, but this is what it is. And she was so able to accept that and run with it. And we've decided to not get a divorce from OHA. Yeah, we're not pursuing divorce from OHA, but like really being able to collaborate and work and figure it out, especially we know Papahānaumokuakea is not the only thing in Hawaii. There's really extremely important other things, but it is important as well. And we just want to be in the lineup with OHA and get support and advocate heavily with our trustees to take your place as co-managers. It's a co-manager. It's not we'll come to a meetings and say thank you and walk away. There's some really huge and heavy work that has to be done. We don't expect you to do it, but we want you guys to support it and show up for that and trust that the cultural working group that is represented across all walks of life and every single island in Hawaii are there to work. And just remind you of that. But right now, there's some really bad things happening with international protections, not only in America and the US, but everywhere. And there's things that can be harmful for the next few generations. And so we want you guys to be aware. We want you guys to be ready. And we've been seeking legal counsel. And been working with Earth Justice and other conservation groups and other Native Hawaiian groups that are just like, we can't let this happen. And I don't have to tell you how bad it is, but we do have to be ready for some advocacy and some defense and hopefully some offense as well. But mahalo. Thank you very much.
Yeah, mahalo, trustees. Yeah, our CEO has.
Mahalo, Pelika, for that presentation. And we did have a very real conversation that night, a year ago, almost. And I just want to mahalo you and the cultural working group, not just for your leadership and the continued steadfast work that you do on behalf of our Tanaka. But thank you for just trusting in OHA again. We didn't want to get divorced. We truly didn't. And but you know what? I know that it takes a lot for this group that works so tirelessly to extend trust again. And we are committed to you, to this group, and to the work that you do. Mahalo.
Yeah. So I just want to thank Pelika too for the hard work that she's done. And O has been a co-manager, and she reminds me every single day. So it's very important that she's here explaining, oh, we have to take our role, accept our role in this co-management. And thank you for educating us more on it. And I'm sure we're going to be talking to you a lot more. So thank you very much. Anybody has any questions? Trustee Akaka.
Mahalo. Mahalo for all your years of service here. I specifically would like to know what exactly has OHA been doing that has been good in that partnership that we have room to do now?
So up until all of the upheaval up to then, we had, you guys had a budget and internal positions. You had Brad Wong there. Before that, Keola Lindsay. Before that, you had, Dan, help me. You had positions. You had positions dedicated just to Papahānaumokuakea and not spread out. And not that whatever system works, but you kind of need someone specifically taking care of that.
How long have you showed up?
She was spread out. So it was before, yeah. So we had positions. We also had a budget that supported research, supported getting so part of our traditions are makaʻikaʻi and all of these other things. And you supported Auntie Pua guys doing her research and the makaʻikaʻi of our voyaging canoes. You did throw in for intertidal research as well, which we continue to do across the state. So and then had eyes on what else was happening and and then those positions worked really, really closely with us and took the information back to you all and was able to kind of share what was happening. And and even agree to disagree at some point. We don't want an agreement. We want what's right. So that's what happened previously. I don't know the answers, but we would love to have someone that is not only within OHA that can focus and can be there on behalf of Papahānaumokuakea and work with us. Because right now we got a fiscal sponsor and somebody that can, because we hired someone to do that. We shouldn't be hiring someone to do that as volunteers. This is OHA's responsibility. And then also have a budget for projects. There's so much work up there. I would love to see our interns joining the cruise every summer, joining the teams up at Midway and Kure Atoll. We have very little Hawaii go up because it's really, really hard for that kind of work is a lot of volunteer. And the only people that can volunteer are the guys coming from the East Coast that are 18 and have a parent home to go to and aren't adding to their family's income. Like here, we can't disappear for 6 months. So if we can employ people for all the time and just put them in place when they're needed and bring them, and we have so much work back here when it can't happen in the winter, like being able to support internships or support actual positions in the field. I volunteer 2 weeks every year and I go up to Niho and I remove Sencris. And I come up, bus up, but I'll do it every year because that is my commitment and my contract to Niho.
When did you last have an OHA delegation visit?
What do you mean? Up there?
Mm-hmm. Was it just Keola?
Anu just went. Yes, Anu just went. We had our intertidal team go up. And so Noah had some money. And because Noah was part of the intertidal partnership from 2011 to 18, they were able to pull some money. And they don't have any money right now, by the way. Pull some money together and get a ship because these ships are expensive, right? And it's safe. There's nothing out there. So everything has to be on these ships. And we got to put together a team and Anu was able to have a seat on that team to go out and do intertidal work, be at those with Kekueva Kikiloi, who did his doctorate on Moku Manamana. So go check out his dissertation or go talk story with him. Or we hope to actually come, not just Pelika, and speak with you guys even more. But Anu got to go.
Hey, can I bring Anu up?
Please.
I'm going to put her on the spot. I know who her boss is. Get up here. Anu, just give us a little bit experience of what you had to, she can go right there. What? No. Go on, go right there. Yeah.
Aloha. It was pretty nuts. It was great. 8 days. It felt very, very good. A good crew. We went on the Imua. It was my first time ever living on a boat for that long. We were out in the kai the entire time. Got to visit Moku Manamana and Nihoa. I got to work with the scientists in the intertidal team and got to go on land with Kekueva and Na'alehu and Scotty and the film crew. And what they did were their job was to redo the cultural briefing video. And I think last time they were there was 2012, and the footage that they have in the 2012 video is actually from 2002. So I think last time Nalehu had shared with me that he didn't even get to go on in 2012. It was all still in the kai. So we got to go on land. Moku mana mana, nui ka mana mana. It was great. Can I read to you? I have some notes, and then I have I had to share a quick, had to share some quick manao.
Yes, no,
Yeah,
please,
with Kanoe.
please do.
Yeah.
Please do.
Okay, kalamai. Kanoe Morishige was our chief scientist on this Huaka'i, and so we had to share a quick, some quick manao before we left the ship. It's not that quick because I'm also Portuguese, okay? Anyway, so mahalo for allowing me to join Papahānaumokuakea Cultural Working Group and the Hui and the Huaka'i. In reflection, it's apparent that we need to further humanize and normalize not only the vaivai of being Kanaka Oiwi, but also on how an optimal Kanaka is a global Kanaka. It's kind of deep, but we can sit on that one for a while. We've had multiple discussions about this in different ohana and hui that I've been building pilina with. For OHA, we could work on shortening the gap of our internal disconnect. We are beneficiaries. We should work on raising another generation in these spaces and advocate for them and actually be about it, be the la'ana, the example, to co-steward, to co-manage, kako kikai, that's aloha ʻāina oia i'o. To echo some of the mana'o of our Kauaʻi community these last couple weeks, we should share resources because we're all interconnected. Consider ways similar practices like hui, ku'e ʻāina ohana, communal ʻāina management, recognize dream networks of ohana, offer access and resources and bring back tradition, and actually know and feel what happens in the physical also happens in the spiritual and vice versa. Kauaʻi clearly produces great models of Kanaka and community organizing around Aloha ʻāina. Like I said earlier, this hui was so good. In only 8 days, I built such a healthy pilina. In the travels to Papahānaumokuakea at Moku Mana Mana and Nihoa, representatives from DAR, DLNR, UH Research, Fire Department, OEVTV, Paliku, documentary films, cultural practitioners, etc. They all want to partner. They're all waiting for OHA, and they want a more active relationship. Overall, the Huaka'i left me super honored, very humbled and inspired to stay awake and ho'omau in all of the wahi. And then my short reflection that I shared with the scientists was this Huaka'i reaffirmed the kuleana we have as a lahui to have aloha ʻāina as our kahua. In my work capacity, I see how important our kulana is to hold these spaces and be placeholders while advocating for our rights, protections, and overall healing. In my capacity as a Kanaka, I think Anakala Ali'i Minor put it best on the Huaka'i. We're riding off of all these mo'olelo from our kupuna, and you come up here and it all unfolds again, and it constantly is happening. Yeah. It's that reawakening of what is innate in all of us, to malama, to be about it, relearn, unlearn, and holomua mekapono. I'm forever in awe of our delicate relationship with ʻāina and how we can ho'omau through all that has happened, is here, and is yet to come. I see how intentional this team is with all the papale we all wear and how aloha moves us for the best. We have a lot of work ahead, but if we can honor our lahui and pai'aina Hawaii and the world, the way we aloha and revere our kupuna and kupuna islands and all that we say and do, then we're that much more ahead on the journey. Normalization of these ways of life through huaka'i, kilo, science, research, mo'olelo, makahana ka'ike, etc., will continue to be key components as we awamo and carefully pass and share mana'o and ike to the hanauna. Olelo no Eao 759 says, Helepu no mekalima. When traveling, take the hands along. The phrase can speak to us as those who say yes to all that is encompassed in a huaka'i. I can only hope that whatever I share can resonate in others and continue to build and mend pilina among hui and in the individuals. I'm super grateful for being a part of this one. Mahalo ya Pelika, Kanoi Moani, trustees, OHA, and Ko Hawaii. Ola.
Wow, I didn't expect that. Yeah, wow, I promise I didn't expect that. Wow, he was all ready to go. Anyway, it was our chair who had a spot on that boat, but I don't know. I wouldn't have made that. voyage. There's no way. But anyway, Anu got chosen and Anu made it on that journey. So thank you for that report. Wow, I had no idea. Anyway, I'm so impressed. And thank you, Pelika. Wait, one last thing. Deep sea mining, how is that going? What's up with deep sea mining? The last I heard, that was one of the biggest things going on.
You know, I don't have enough information to be like the expert to share, but I just came back from the South Hemisphere and it's huge there. A lot of them are doing it under the guise of research. There's fracking happening. They're going into all of the countries that really don't have the voice or the representation to fight back. There's some really dirty business going on. So we gotta learn more. But I know Uncle Salka Ho'ohalahala is doing a lot of work and just trying to pound down that door. But just so one thing I don't know if you guys know this, but when you go down into the South Hemisphere and Hawaii is the only Pacific Island group that is not included in Pacific Island group things. And so I know this is not about Papahānaumokuakea, but OHA might want to think about participating more in Pacific Island things. There's so much happening that New Zealand with Papua New Guinea and Solomon Island and they're all collaborating, Kiribati, and they're all collaborating and talking. And then I'm like, what's happening? And they're like, why don't you know about this? You're Pacific Island, but we're being excluded from all of it. So just another side note, but it's huge in being aware down there too. And I know we're catching cracks too there, but it's just one of those things, right? The door opens and we can't control the floodgates. And then what does it represent? And when does extraction become too much? Or why is an extraction at this volume even okay? And we already know the end of the road. We know that what's off the end of that cliff, but you know, when are we gonna be enough is enough? Because it just opens another door to another door. And that's kind of the thing going back to commercial fishing. It's not about the small guy. We get plenty commercial fishermen here on Kauaʻi and Oahu that used to go up there. But this is not even about representing them. Westpac is using the large scale, really bad behaviors and using these other guys as trying to get through the door and as their representation. But it's not really even about them. They're gonna be thrown through it all too and not benefit from any of it. So it's just about behavior. If we want to talk about Hawaii things, like not what we did, but why we did it. And we have proved collectively and globally that we don't know how to behave. And I think Indigenous people need to like say, hey, we need to start behaving. Regardless of what we used to do 200 years ago, the circumstances are the same. So yeah, okay.
We have a question from Trustee Galoteria.
It's not quite a question, but it's more of a reflection or a suggestion. Because, you know, as we talk 30,000 feet, we're going to reestablish our relationship, right? That's going to require specificity. And as the chair of the Beneficiary Advocacy Empowerment Committee, that's where the talk story is going to happen before it gets to the big board. So when you're going to be working with Stace, you're going to be working with her advocacy group. When you come to the table, and I can guarantee you that you'll make the agenda. When you do come in front of that committee, be specific of what your ask is. And we can go from there. And I guarantee you we'll talk about it. We've already agendized you for a couple of meetings away.
Thank you.
Okay?
Mahalo.
All right.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you. So that concludes the sharing tonight, community sharing. But tonight, right now, we're moving on to community concerns and celebrations. Lihua, do we have anybody signed up to speak? Got it. Okay, I got it. Okay. Oh, yeah, Megan. Oh, I see Megan back there. Oh, Megan, thanks for coming. Megan from the North Shore. That was her nephew today, Kahikena, with a boy without the shirt. Yeah, that was the nephew. Yeah, on the meal.
Aloha.
Guys. I made some notes because there were so many things. I was at the genealogy workshop last night, so I had so much on my mind, and so I made some notes that I will just read off and make it easier. So first of all, mahalo for holding space and showing up for this community meeting and giving us space to speak to you directly. My name is Megan Wong, and I come here today as a mother, as a tutu, as a protector of iwi kupuna, and as a caretaker of Kuleana land. I speak for my ohana and many others who continue to be failed by the very systems meant to uplift us as Kanaka. On iwi kupuna and the ongoing disrespect, I am deeply concerned about the continued disturbance of iwi kupuna, particularly in areas where we know burials exist, Hanalei, Taheina, for example. The lack of meaningful communication with community members about ongoing investigations or enforcements is unacceptable. We are the descendants, and we deserve to know what's happening on our ʻāina and to be part of the decision-making when iwi are found. And there is no transparency, no follow-up, no pono process. And the genealogy support, where is it? OHA is supposed to help us trace our genealogy and connection to land, but there is no real help. Not for the beginners or even those of us who have spent years doing the work. We have been researching our Kuleana land for over 3 years. We've gathered extensive documentation that connects our ohana to the ʻāina for 175 years, and still we are hitting dead ends. Just last night, your genealogist deferred us to the county. Today, the county handed us a form that says, go back to OHA or go get a court order. We are being passed back and forth like we don't matter. We need clear support and someone who can walk us through this process, especially when the language and the legal systems are unfamiliar and hard for us to navigate. Kuleana tax exemptions, why is it so hard? We have had zero help from OHA in securing Kuleana tax exemptions, despite all of our research. Why is there no acknowledgement of our effort? Why isn't there someone at OHA assigned specifically to assist families navigating this? The process is broken and the families are given up, and that is not pono. On housing and family displacement, my daughter just had a baby. She's applied for housing all the way out in LA just to get something. Why are our families being forced to leave their home communities? Why are Kanaka being pushed out of places we've been for generations? This disconnection is part of our trauma. It's a modern displacement, and it breaks our lahui apart. We have unaffordable taxes that are driving out our local families. I live on the North Shore, and the taxes are unbearable. Many longtime local families, not just Kanaka, are being forced to sell because they can't afford to stay. They don't want to make shame, so they quietly let go. This is happening one by one, and it's heartbreaking. So I'm asking, what can OHA do to help us change this? There are legal barriers and inadequate representation. Even the Native Hawaiian Legal Corp can only go so far. They're tied to some legal system that invalidates the kingdom and our inherent rights. If we rely only on the arguments in court, we will lose our ʻāina. We need to be able to stand on the truth of the kingdom, but we don't have the support to do that. My call for action is, to be honest, it just feels like OHA and DHHL are set up not to help us. Maybe some small wins here and there, but overall the system feels like they're protecting the state more than the people. And I do appreciate this new board. And I believe some of you genuinely want to help, but the reality for many of us is that we don't feel supported. So I'm asking OHA to step up, provide real-time updates on iwi kupuna cases and enforcement. Right now, a concern would be still at Naihe at Oneone, and also with Jeremie at Anahola, there's beach erosion there. And when we went there about a month ago, there were iwi kupuna that were all over the beach, and we picked up bones, big bones. And I don't know if, since you guys went down there, if Jeremie pointed that out to you, but he had notified Shipti a month prior to us finding it on TikTok. So Shipty had not responded, and I don't know what the update, and maybe Jeremy knows what the update is. And I really appreciate reaching out to Kamakana and Kuike and Stacy, and that there's OHA is following up on that. But it would be helpful for us to know, like, where are we in this process, and do those iwi kupuna mean less there than at the rich man at Oneone, who's like SHPD David Buckley showed up the very next day to continue on that movement of his septic system and what has to happen. But the ones that sit at the beach and are being washed away all over the beach and people are creating TikToks are those less deserving of respect. So create a hands-on genealogy and kuleana tax exemption help desk with staff who can help walk families through this process. Advocate for housing policies that prioritizes Ohana staying together in their home communities. Address the unaffordable tax burden on Kanaka and longtime local families, and support families trying to defend their kuleana land outside of the U.S. legal framework. We are not asking for handouts, we're doing the work, but we need the help. Please don't let this generation be the one that loses everything. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Megan. Anybody have any questions? No, so I don't know if you were here, but we gave an update on Naihe.
We
Did you
did
hear
miss
about?
it. No, we missed it.
Oh, you missed it. Oh,
We
okay.
weren't quite here.
Yeah, we gave an update. I don't know. Yeah, oh yeah, okay. Maybe Stacy can have a.
Well, I'll tell you that where we stand, so it's public, is that the last that we heard is that on Oneone, they were ordered to remove the tank 2, which is sitting in 6 graves, including babies. And if they did not, they could be fined up to $20,000 a day. They needed to decommission that. Did they? Didn't they? We don't know. So there's a public access gate. So I went through it the other day, and there's a laundry room that is like this close to the grave. And that's one of the buildings, and that building go into that tank. But people were doing laundry out of that. So did they or didn't they? And from what we got from NHLC, the last I heard was that they were under investigation by Shipty. So we pretty much gathered all of the information that they need. Like, we went on the property, we've been arrested, we gathered the information, we interviewed guests that were staying there, all these things. So we feel like we did a lot of the investigation. We've gotten them pictures, updates, neighbors have. So how long is it investigation? And some of these things we feel like it's like big in the media, and then it brushes under the rug, and let's not hear about it. And then years go by. So what's happened? There's also a big heart rock thing that they made that felt so disrespectful. Is that still there? What is the follow-up on the property? It just feels like business as usual. And I know we've been encouraged by Kersha and NHLC that we've made great strides in a short amount of time with what happened. The county planning department now considers septic systems being major construction. So they now require an SMA permit, which then you need to do like shoreline assessment and different things. So those are making really great strides, but it still doesn't feel like enough. And so as we continue in this work, we don't get paid for this. This is not a paid position. This is volunteer because of protecting iwi kupuna, but we're just asking for check and balances, and who can we reach out to make sure that there's a follow through on that, and that years don't go by and yet the tank is being used and they are just continuing when we've dedicated so many hours, days, months of hard work. And we continue to go to court on trespassing charges against us who are protecting iwi kupuna. So I look forward to catching up with you.
Thank you, Megan. And I just wanted to announce to this board that Megan's nomination for the Island Burial Council will be up on the BAE committee. So maybe we can vote for her. No, but thank you, Megan, so much for being here. Thank you.
I think because this is community concerns, it's not normally where we can go back and forth with questions, but I do want to share that in just our conversations, what was it, on Monday, in our BAE leadership meeting, beneficiary advocacy and empowerment, Iwi Kupuna was top of mind in the conversation, and how we further prioritize and have the communication, not just internally, but beyond the doors of OHA, so that our community understands part of our kuleana and that we remain steadfast in this. And part of the recommendation that I had made was that perhaps we can look at a workshop that is held within OHA, so our trustees, our staff are more ma'a to what this kuleana entails, and so that there is more of a clearer understanding of how we are constitutionally mandated. Part of that kuleana is how we work with the various entities, and that we communicate that internally and with our community. So you do know that we are active in this and that this is top of mind. Mahalo.
Yeah, I just want you to know you never went unheard. We all know that you're coming up for your nomination, so just good luck, and I hope you get on there. So thank you so
Yes,
much.
and I also want to share as well that part of that conversation is always actively looking in how we can continue to advocate legislatively on all levels of government and within the community. So mahalo for all that you're doing.
Well, thank you so much. So with that, I don't know if there's anybody else who wanted to say anything else. So with that, tomorrow morning, I have a few announcements. Tomorrow morning, we'll be right back here, our Board of Trustee meeting starting at 9 a.m. And secondly, I'd like to mahalo everyone for being here. Thank you for taking the time out of your time to come. Oh, Shailene, you want to come say something? Thank you so much. This is Shailene Ornelas. I would recognize her, so I had to. Sorry about mentioning that it was here.
And I'm not as tall as you, Megan. Aloha, everyone. Sorry, this feels weird. I just wanted to thank you so much for being here. I think this sets such an amazing precedent, to take time. I do want to say that unfortunately, and I feel really sad that this room is filled with more staff than Kauaʻi residents. But unfortunately, this evening at the vet center near the stadium, there's a meeting about PMRF. Up the road at Kapa'a Middle School, there is a meeting about Hokua Place, which is a massive proposed development just not even a mile away. And so I thank you so much for being here, and to just make you aware that there's some really big stuff happening on Kauaʻi. And so my own ohana, we split up, and I'm here, they're there, and I was sharing that with Megan because we do have to make the hard choices. We have to show up. And I think that that's so difficult sometimes for people. They're afraid, they're intimidated. So the fact that you took time out of your busy lives to come here does not go unnoticed. So I just wanted to say thank you so much. Also, when it comes to Iwi Kupuna, way before, I'm old, okay? And way before there was even a Shibdi, my father was a lead person on Kauaʻi to repatriate bones. So I cannot tell you how many Saturdays were spent in Pule, going to way too many places that I can remember to pick them up, and through prayer and discussion with a very informal Kanaka Oiwi group, my father and mother hauled these little kids all over the island to return them. The particular bones that Megan was discussing in Anahola deserves us attention, deserves some looking into. I don't know if it's this body, but your advocacy and support in the work that she and others are doing is so, so important. We are celebrating as well, aren't we? And I want to say thank you so much to Auntie Lucy and to Kale and that entire team that was here last night. I shared last night a very emotional turning point in my life, whereas the longest serving member of the Public Access Open Space Commission for Kauaʻi, I voted on expending public funds to purchase a particular piece of property, and within 1 month learned that it was our kuleana land that I voted for. Not understanding the process, lucky to have, I guess, cooperation and the financial means to fight it. We still lost. And that's with attorneys and with genealogists and researchers. And, you know, I'm a real estate agent by trade. I understand title, chain of title, break in title. There has to be something, and I was hoping that you would share it, Megan, but there has to be something that we look at when it comes to break in title, lineal descendancy, and tenancy. In the case of her Ohana, where they're on the land for more than 175 years, does that not mean enough? One of our attendees last night said, you know, I registered my kids, OHA, you know, as soon as they have the registry. We did the Ho'olu data center registration, so our kids are, you know, in that KS system. I did the same thing with my 3 children. How many times do we need to register, step up, stand up, produce our paperwork? Something's wrong. And so I'm hoping that, and I shared this with a couple people who were at the event last month at Washington Place with the Ali'i Trust dinner. I did share that I think it's the beginnings of some really great work that can happen. And one of the speakers, I believe it was the representative from Queens Hospital, said, there are more gaps than any one organization has the resources to fill. So it's about time that we join forces. And I think assisting the families with genealogical work, I mean, it's just something has to be done, because in a course, let's see, of 15 months, my ohana lost 2 pieces of property. Something's wrong. And then another that was very highly publicized. But I think that there's some great beginnings, and I just respect all of you. I've watched your work for years. I think there's huge opportunities for us to support one another going forward, so that, you know, Megan walked in with a huge binder last night, but then we also had people that walked in with nothing but a dream, just to know who they are and where they come from. And so thank you so much, Auntie Lucy, for your work. There's much more work to be done. And I, for one, my mother is a genealogist. We've spent our whole lives doing genealogy. I would like to help, but I would also like our people to be helped. Those who, some of them sit in this audience right now, looking to begin their genealogical journey. And so just think about like ways that perhaps we could partner and support one another. We are a minority. We are rare. I don't know if you saw the latest statistics that came out of how rare a Kanaka Maoli birth in the world is. So, somebody saw that. It is, I don't want to open my phone and be rude, but it is minuscule. When we look at the births on planet Earth, for a Kanaka Maoli to be born into this world is scary, the number. So how do we support one another? How do we fill those gaps? And I just want to say thank you so much for being here and creating this space for dialogue. Mahalo.
Thank you. Okay, well, we have time for one more. Auntie, come, say what you gotta say. Then after that we can. There we go.
I wanted to say, my name is Liberta Hasiel Bao. I'm from the island of Hawaii, married my husband. My dad is from Waipio Valley. My mother is from Hilo. Anyway, I came to thank you for having your meeting here. It's very informational. But I wanted to share that I worked at Cocoa Palms over 30 years. And now I'm one of the cultural advisors for the new Cocoa Palms Hotel. It's the Kimpton Resorts. And in their budget, it's going to be $400 million to rebuild Cocoa Palms Hotel. Timeline is about 2 years. Unlimited construction was selected to rebuild Cocoa Palms. And they also, I was really surprised, the CEO said they're earmarking $40 million to do a Native Hawaiian cultural center there. I just wanted to share that with you. So many times when I, in Costco, Walmart, people are saying, Auntie, I want to work over there. They're going to hire about 350 people. Yeah, but I never heard of building a cultural center at a hotel. $40 million. I just felt, and I was in a Kalima case, went to trial. 10 of us, we won, thank you. I hope you all got your money because there's other people that didn't come forth to receive their money. Yeah? I just contacted somebody last night. So I wanted to share that you're very appreciative for all of us, that we can see you personally to tell you how much we really care for you. And the Kauaʻi Ola is very important because it's mailed out. I get calls from my family on the mailing. They like reading what's in a Kauaʻi Ola. Want to tell the staff, thank you very, very much. There's much that we need to do, but we need to help each other. Thank you.
Oh, so with that, I just want to thank all of you for being here and taking the time to come. I just wanted to update you guys real quick with, so Auntie, with Cocoa Palms, I believe we're gonna get we're gonna be talking with Mason Chalk. I think Kuike is gonna be talking with Mason Chalk just to get updated. We're always getting updated. I just wanted to thank our administrative staff. They've been boots on the ground on Kauaʻi for the last year, and they've been doing a great job. And I just want to make sure we mahalo them, everyone, you know, for doing a great job. Lastly, doing a great job. We just wanted to give you some updates on the Anahola EV, if we can. Thank you.
Mahalo, Trustee Ahuna. So the latest on Anahola, the EV kupuna there. So SHPT went out there on June 27 and secured the site. However, it was determined that it's DHHL property. So DHHL is following NAGPRA. DHHL staff has confirmed that they will reach out to the descendants, and it's likely that the EV will be reburied at a reinterment vault nearby on DHHL lands. Mahalo.
Yeah. So, is there any announcements, trustees? Well, with that, I just want to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Okay, it's been moved by Trustee Souza and seconded by Trustee Alapa. Can I get a roll call, please? Yes.
Aye.
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 Yes.
Aye.
It's 7:27. Thank you so much.
Thank you.